Good morning. Okay, so markets are up here a little bit here. Actually, NQs are up 21 points or so. So whenever you hear that the market is up or the market is down, in the morning, look at the chart. Is it up or down relative to the prior price pattern over the last few days? Is it meaningful one way or the other? And just looking at the chart here, you can see it's almost irrelevant. It's just an inside day so far, and it's just, pre-market 24-hour trading, of course, so that'll change by the end of the day or possibly change. But what I see happening here as you look intraday and the daily, first of all, you got a bottoming tail bar that happened 3 trading days ago. Looking at the 30-minute chart, you can see it was a retest of that low last Thursday. Prices bounced back up and actually acted really well at this swing high here. I think I mentioned that in the video last week, and not sure, but I know I did. We went over that with subscribers. Point being, what you want to take away from that is when you get a swing high, especially after a crack like this, typically you're going to have a market that continues to the downside. And that initially happened here, as it pulled back, but then the price action here was to go sideways and consolidate, and that's bullish to happen in the area of a prior swing high after a break like this. Now, the market being erratic, as it has been, especially, after that big, ugly red bar there. Everything has to be in context where you try to put together what's happening in the moment, especially if you're a day trader, to formulate a plan as to what the possibilities are and if you want to trade. So on the 30-minute chart here, prices had stabilized. They act bullishly. They were starting to go up. And, it looked like they can continue to go higher here, but then they failed. So, what the takeaway is here is that there's a lot of uncertainty at this moment, whereas, you start to get this type of stabilization, prices start to move up as they should from this type of a pattern. They consolidate again, which would suggest they're going to go higher, and then they break to the downside again. And here, stabilizing up, sideways. So overall, just a lot of going nowhere, basically. So what do you do in a situation like this? Well, my suggestion is just stay away. Now, as you probably know, Apple's going to report earnings after the close. That's going to have some effect, especially on the NASDAQ here. Now, prices being in an uptrend on the weekly and in the daily, and we got this minor support here, which already has been used in a sense. That's how I like to explain it when I do the educational part of a seminar, is that a reference point hasn't been tested or used in the past. And the rule being, well, if prices traded below it and then back up above it, it's been used, and it's going to be less effective or potent as a reference point. So where would I want to see this to consider a long? Well, that would be here. These overlapping opens and closes, which I showed you yesterday, I believe, in alignment with the 50 MA. This area here has already been tested. That's why this bottomed out here. So down here, if this was to fail and come down here, and then we'd come down to the intraday time frame and look for a bottoming type of pattern, not necessarily one that looks like this, but it could start this way. And then, this is how we would take an X-ray down into a smaller time frame to look for an entry point in alignment with our bias based on these higher time frames being in uptrends. Right? So let's see what else is going on here. So a little education there. Hope that helps you. S&Ps, showing some relative strength to the NASDAQ, moving sideways up here. Bullish price action after a run up. Right, so here's the momentum move, creates the price void, and so far just going sideways, building up a new area of support. And because the trends are up, theoretically, prices should move to the upside. unless, of course, they don't. Right? So you always have two scenarios. Your bias based on trend is that prices could go higher, but you're always open to other possibilities, not to get stuck in some opinion, especially if you were to, be in a situation like this where, you bought, it was less related to the daily time frame, you bought a breakout and then prices broke down, and here they recovered, but if they continue to go down, human nature being what it is, you could get stuck in saying, well, it's consolidated. Look at all that bullish price action. It's got to recover. And before you know it, you're exiting the position down here at the next support level. All right. Gold down a little bit, but cleared this high. All right. It cleared this prior swing high, but overall the weekly is just in a sideways consolidation here. So unless, you traded, this down here, which I didn't. But I'll tell you, if you had, at this point, you're coming closer to the resistance. Maybe this has a little bit more left in it, where this is just a stall. Maybe it could get up there. But this would have been the place to consider it, down near that major support level. And bonds, kind of whippy and erratic. We've covered this in prior videos in the morning, where it had broken out over here, and then it came all the way back in, and I don't know what this is going to do. So when I don't know, I just stay away. There's other things. All right, so some of the gappers here. UA, gapping down below the low of this green bar. And so buyers coming in here, and I believe it reported earnings. Just taking a look here. Tops second quarter estimates by 4 cents. It approves restructuring. And down it goes on there. And, nothing to stop it from going lower here. So if you're an intraday trader, that might be one to put on the radar. And, what was it? American Airlines got an upgrade. Kind of like this, again from, it could be a swing. It's down here at major support, and the weekly isn't an uptrend. But, because it's pulled back over the last couple of weeks and it's stabilized here, I could consider it as a day trade possibility. Maybe it can get going here on this upgrade. And I think Tesla is reporting, or I don't think it did yet. I'm not sure. I have to look. I believe it might be after the close. Not doing anything here. Looked like maybe it was going to be able to get something going here, with the weekly in an uptrend. But look at the way it came down. So when you look at how prices come down, one of the things to look at and consider is the angle that it came down at. And when it falls off the building, so to speak, like throwing a rock off the 10th floor, it might bounce, but it typically not going back up to the high, not without rebuilding a rebuilding period to repair the damage. All right, and what was it? Pandora. Where is it? Pandora reported today, and it looks like, the weekly's a sell here. But a lot of news coming out around this where, and again, we're technical traders, but, I have noticed a lot of news where they're getting investors coming in, maybe to save it. We'll see if it does. It had a nice move. It broke the downtrend on the daily time frame, but not on the weekly. So retest patterns or higher lows are definitely something to be interested in here if that sets up. Citi. This has been a stock that we've been in, and it still looks good. If you read Barron's magazine on the weekends, and not that they're always right, and they have been dead wrong. They were on Macy's when whoever wrote it up called the bottom in Macy's several months ago, and that was probably around here. But whoever the analysis on Citi in that magazine, if you read it, is that it could be a double from here. And technically, it just looks like that's a real possibility. And we've covered the fact that, financials are up near this high, and so far they're just acting the way they should at a prior high, which would suggest, when they can get through here, If they can get through there, there's a lot of upside potential for financials. All right, guys, that'll be about it for today. We'll talk tomorrow. And visit mastertrader.com. If you are starting out in the markets, we have a free course. Look under education. Sign up for the trade of the week. Sign up for that free course about the markets and the foundation for technical analysis. You're going to find and learn some fantastic stuff there. Okay, guys, have a great trading day.